Today, I'm super excited to bring you this episode because the VIP guest of the day is the author of The Profit First and also his newest book called Fix This Nest. I love this model so much, I even got myself certified as an advisor of this Fix This Nest. So that means that I am qualified to now use Mike's model to help more business owners and entrepreneurs to diagnose where they really need from going from the A to B to C. Now, in case you don't know who Mike is, let me kind of read his bio for you. He is the author of Profit First, Clockwork, Surge, The Pumpkin Plan, and his newest release, Fix This Nest. By his 35th birthday, Mike had founded and sold two companies, one to private equity and another to a Fortune 500. Today, he's running his third multi-million-dollar venture, Profit First Professionals. Mike is a former business makeover specialist of MSNBC. Over the years, he traveled the globe and speaking with thousands of entrepreneurs and is here today to share the best that what he has learned. In this episode, I asked him a couple key questions. One is what prompted him to write this book. It seems such a perfect timing, almost like God gave him a hammer and say, make sure this book will be published in such a time as this. Second of all, it's what is survival trap? Have you ever experienced that, you wake up in the morning and you go to your office, you have to put out some fire, right? Then you thought you finally did in the end of the day, you took a breath, but then the next day when you wake up, you go to the office and there's other fires and it seems like it's just one after the other. Or sometimes it's kind of illusion of we are moving forward, but actually we are kind of one step forward, two step backwards situation. So that is called survival trap. So how can you avoid that? Mike gave us an answer there. And also, a lot of business owners try to sell their way out. So what do I mean by that? A lot of clients came to me and said, Kelly, I need to make sales right now. I need to make more sales. That could be such a deceptive idea. And why is that? You need to watch this episode. As releasing of this episode in the time that we are still dealing with the COVID-19. And what can we as entrepreneurs in such a time as this to take the right action for our business? What is that one common mistake that Christian CEOs and entrepreneurs made that literally will ruin their company? Now, all this and more coming up for you in this episode. Mike, welcome to the show.
Kelly, thank you so much for having me.
It's such an honor. I've been your fan since the Profit First all the way. And guess what? In the COVID-19, I cannot get a physical copy. So.
Oh, right. Totally. Yeah, of course. But you got it electronically. You're awesome.
And, in the introduction, I already told my audience and later on, YouTube visitors see that how awesome you are. But we always love to see, from yourself. It's difficult to think that is anybody don't know you just yet, but just in case.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that don't know me. And unfortunately, this is not my best look. This is, we call it COVID hair. I can't get a haircut. So it's just a wad of wet hair that I have now. So this is me.
No, you look great. You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I would say that what actually prompted you to write this book of Fix This Nest is almost like I feel like you have like a prophetic anointing or something that exactly is gonna happen what we are dealing with now, and then you just happen to get this book out.
I know. So I wrote Fix This Next to manage business crisis, but of course didn't expect this. Here's how it came about, Kelly. I emailed my list of readers about 5 years ago. It takes me about 5 years to write a book. I write multiple books at a time, so I get out about one every year or two. But it takes me 5 years from the starting point to the conclusion. And so I emailed my readers about 5 years ago, and I asked a question saying, what is the biggest challenge you face in the next year? And when I sent that email, I'm not the most technically savvy person. I they clicked a few too many times. I sent out the same email multiple times in the same day. But here's what was so fascinating. The same person, in many cases, wrote back with different answers about their
Mhm.
biggest annual challenge. So one person said in the morning, we have a sales challenge. We need to bring in great salespeople. In the afternoon, it said, we have a systems problem. There's not enough processes in place. And then the last one, it was about vision. And it's like, oh my gosh, that became very clear to me that the biggest challenge business owners have is knowing what their biggest challenge is. That's the key. That's the key. So I
Mhm.
wrote the book to create a compass or a way to pinpoint what's the one thing we need to work on our business now to fix permanently before we try to the next thing. Because most entrepreneurs are trying everything at once, and
Right.
therefore they see no progress.
Yeah, I love about, I mean, since actually in the Profit First, you already mentioned the survival trap.
Yes.
I would really love you to talk about that because I think this is such a common mistake that as entrepreneurs or business owner that we make.
Yes. So the survival trap, yeah, it is a recurring theme. Here's how you can do it. You can do it in your mind if you want. The first thing you do on a center of a piece of paper in your mind, you draw the letter A and you put a circle around it. And what A represents is our starting point, point A, as they would say, where we are right now. And for most businesses, where we are today in this moment is challenge or crisis, struggle of some sort. There's something that needs to be fixed. But then as a second step, draw some arrows away from A in different directions of your choosing and maybe do 3 or 4 arrows. But what these arrows represent are the choices we can make, the actions we can take to get out of the current situation, to escape the now.
Mm.
And as the final step in this survival trap, I tell people, draw the letter B in the bottom right corner of the piece of paper and put a circle around it. What B represents is what your business needs next. Now, here's the big question. How many arrows pointed to B? And
Mm.
when people do this and report truthfully, it's usually 0 arrows or maybe 1, in a rare occasion 2. But most of the time it's no arrows. And then I ask, well, why didn't you draw any arrows toward B? And the answer is so obvious. I didn't know where B was. We can't take action to serve our business if we don't know what our business needs to be served. It's that simple. So most business owners are in A now. They
Mm.
escape A. They feel momentary relief, but they simply end up in the next A. So the next morning we come in and say, oh, it's problems again. And we try to escape and we're like, okay, we got through the day. And the next day it's problems again. Sometimes, and this is actually the most dangerous, sometimes by pure happenstance, by chance, we draw an arrow from A toward B. And then we say, wow, things are working. Like I'm sure you've had this, like you're putting out fires. And then one day you come in, it's like, wow, everything's clicking.
Yeah,
Everything's
it seems
working.
moving forward.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, right, Kelly. This is my dream. This is what I wanted. I finally had it solved. And the next day you come back to work and it all falls apart again. You're like, what's happening? The reason we experience that is sometimes by pure chance, we draw an arrow in the direction of B, but we still don't know where B is. So we're simply in a new A, a new now, and we start moving or escaping A. So what we teach in Fix This Next and what Fix This Next advisors are doing, like you, is identify exactly what the business needs, B. Then every arrow we draw, it's very clear which direction we need to go. Once you solve B, then we look for C. Where's the next thing we need to solve for this business? And now you start moving your business forward in a very direct path and get out of that survival trap that most businesses are in, that they stay in for life, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is such a awesome model because by the way, if you guys got sharp ears, you just heard what he said that I'm an advisor. It's because I just read a book and then he, Mike have such a wonderful program to get certified as an advisor because I have been doing coaching and consulting since 2008. And I saw this happen all the time. It's like when another trap is like when the clients come along and say, oh, Kelly, I need more sales. Right? I need to make money quick. I can solve all the problem.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit like why that can be so deceptive?
Yeah. So many owners revert to, I'm going to sell my way out of this. What we have to be aware of, Kelly, is that sales relates or translates to organizational stress. Here's what I mean. If I sell you something, Kelly, now I have an obligation to deliver that to you. either product or service. If I sell to 10 more people, I have 10 more obligations. What happens, particularly in small businesses, is as we sell more, there's more organizational responsibility, but because I'm the small business owner, it falls on my shoulders.
Right.
So as I sell more, I get more and more stressed. But since I'm not profitable and I revert to, I got to sell my way out of this, I take on more stress. So many businesses sell and become actually more volatile, more endangered of collapsing because there's more responsibility without the balance of profitability. So that's what you do. And what a Fix This Next advisor does is you walk into a business and say, listen, let's stop for a second. Sales is something that we can address, but maybe that's just escaping an A. What's our B? And for some businesses, it's actually looking at the existing sales and amplifying profitability. For other businesses, it's bringing efficiency. We call it order, bringing order to the organization. And then once that's addressed, then we can amplify sales. So this hierarchy of needs, there's 5 levels to it. I call it the business hierarchy of needs. Foundationally, sales is the starting point, but then there's profit, order, a thing called impact, where we transform people's lives. The highest level is legacy, where the business is built to be permanent. This is not a ladder. We don't climb to the top and just wave. People move up. It's like building a structure. You build up. If you want to make the structure bigger, you go back to the foundation, you build a bigger foundation, and then you build the floors above it. The mistake some entrepreneurs are making is they go right to the foundation of sales, and they keep on making it bigger and bigger and bigger. They're drawing the biggest pit in the ground possible, and they never put anything above it. Or if they do, it's a little tool shed of profit, and it falls down within it.
Yes.
So this is a building that works relationally, and you're going to keep moving around as you build the structure taller and bigger.
I love how you utilize like a Marshall model to explain this, and in your book. And, I think for Christian CEOs and entrepreneurs, one common mistake I have seen is, we love people. And then when clients come along and say, oh, I want to help people, I want to make impact, right? So before the rest of things is ready, can you tell us a little bit about that? Kind of just walk us through.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I believe sadly, for many entrepreneurs, the greatest day of their lives as an entrepreneur is the day before they start the business. Because the day before we start our business, we're like, I'm going to change the world.
Yes.
I'm going to be so great. Then the next morning we start and say, why hasn't anyone bought from me? And panic ensues. We often go in with a great vision, and we need to, but then we stay stuck at the vision alone and never consider the foundational requirements. We're building the 4th or 5th floor of the business in thin air, and it keeps on collapsing to the ground because we haven't built the foundation. I call this the get to give relationship. Many entrepreneurs, many people in life say you have to give to get. And I understand the concept, but there's a flaw in that. You can't give when you have nothing to give.
Exactly.
We need to get in order to give. Our business must get sales, must get profit, must get efficiency so we can effectively deliver over and over again. Sadly, in this pandemic, we have businesses here that have gone out of business because they said, we have to serve the community. We have to give to the community. And they ignored themselves. They weren't selling. They just started to give. Well, within 2 weeks, they exhausted all their resources and they've closed their doors forever. And I think that's the ultimate sin. To give for 2 weeks and never give again. I think we should give into perpetuity, that we give for 2 decades or 2 centuries. But the only way to do that is to be fair to our clients and customers as we're fair to ourselves. So we must get those elements in to sustain in order to have the great impact that we always envisioned to have.
While you're saying this, it kind of reminded me a picture. When we are on the flights, they always say that put a mask on yourself first, right? Before even your own child sitting next to you. So that is I think that is the same situation, that if we cannot even take care of ourselves, how can we take care of others?
That's exactly right. And it in the airplane scenario makes total sense. I need to breathe. If I can't breathe, I can't serve. But in the business sense, we mix it up and we say, no, we just have to give. But it's the same idea. We have to breathe. Sales is like oxygen. Yeah. When you have sales coming into the organization, it is fueling with oxygen. But you can't just breathe and be healthy forever. You then need to absorb that oxygen into the blood of the business. That's what profit is the absorption of the oxygen and the circulation of it. and that's profitability. Efficiency or order is now the muscle of the organization, so it can actually deliver on its promises. So it's the entire biology of a business that must be satisfied. You must survive and thrive as a business in order to put that oxygen mask, if you will, on the child sitting next to you or on all the passengers on the plane.
Yeah, I have a side question because for a lot of clients, they just kind of just started a side hustle, they call it, right? We focus on create their first profit center first.
Yeah.
And then, but then in the midst of it, as they're about to, let's say, hire their first team member or two,
Yeah.
they need order to the business. So, but if we see your model order is in the third level, so what will you do about that?
That's a great question. Yeah, some people say, well, to grow more, I need to hire someone. I need more muscle in the business. But you're saying, Mike, you have to focus on sales first. The model is something that we move around. The day you open your business, you need to sell something immediately. But then the next morning, this isn't something that we have to do for 6 months or 6 years and then move up. It could just be for a few minutes. Can we sell something? Yes. Can we get someone helping with it? Yes. That's order. Oh, can we make this profitable? And we start jumping around. The realization I think also people need to have around hiring specifically is many small businesses, micro enterprises, where it's just the entrepreneur themselves, that first hire is daunting. They say, I don't know if I can afford them. And if you think about it from a percentage basis, it is daunting. That's 100% growth. If I hire one person and I'm a one-person company, I go to 2 people, that's 100% growth. If Google tomorrow says, we're going to hire 100,000 people on Friday morning or something, that's the same idea. That's 100% growth. It would be absurd in the overwhelm that would even make to Google. So as small business owners, what I often suggest to get to the order level, you don't go full-time employee right away. Yeah. Maybe it's just an assistant that helps you a few hours a day or a week initially. So you slowly start building a little bit of strength on order, but don't make that level too big because it'll crush the levels below it. Make it slightly bigger with a part-time help. Then you go back to sales, you strengthen profit, and now you bring on another virtual where you go full-time, maybe do some impact and go back down. So you'll always move up and down these levels.
Oh, I'm so glad you talk about that because I know that already my listener will ask, but how do I do all those things?
Right. They need help.
Yeah. They need help.
Yeah. And the mistake we make is thinking that we need a full-time assistant. Here's the greatest part, Kelly, is my own business. We're small. We have 12 employees. Of those 12 employees, I think 7 or 8 of them are part-timer. The majorities of our employees are part-time employees. There is a community out there that is looking for part-time work. And I think us as a business owner, because this is our full-time endeavor, we default to think the only people that want to work are full-time employees. And that's not true. There's a massive base of people that are out there, not even looking necessarily to make more money. They just want something that they enjoy doing. They just want to get out of the house for a few hours a day. There's other drivers besides just full-time employment.
Yeah. So before you go, because, you guys have to buy the book. That's the bottom line, right?
You were the best, Kelly.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, So obviously we'll put all the links, everything. But last question is, how do business owners, entrepreneurs now can get started today in such a time as this by using the fixed this nest model?
Yeah. So what you can do right now is analyze your business. Now, I know, Kelly, you have a private link, I believe we set up. Yeah. So what's that link? I don't recall what it is. Do you recall?
It's kellybaader.fixedthisnest.com.
Okay. Yeah. So Kelly Baader, so it's Baader. So KELLYBAADER.fixthisnext.com. I just want to invite every one of your listeners to go to that website right now. The reason is this. Within the next 5 minutes, you can evaluate your business. I think there's 25 questions or so there. And it will pinpoint what to work on within your business right now. That's the thing you can do in this moment. I think what a lot of entrepreneurs unfortunately do, Kelly, is they hear all these ideas like, this is amazing, I have such clarity, but then we go right back into the overwhelm because we didn't take immediate action. If we take immediate, albeit small action, it starts the momentum. Yes. So I encourage everyone, go to that website, KELLYBAADER.fixthisnext.com. Take that evaluation. You'll be done in 5 minutes with the evaluation, but you'll start this movement of permanently making your business go forward.
Yeah, exactly. That because I done that myself, so I can really vouch that that's really such a great assessment. So Mike, I cannot thank you enough for today, your precious time and all the value bombs that you have dropped.
You're the best, Kelly. Thank you, my sister.
Have you taken a lot of notes? I hope so. Now, Mike was emphasizing the link, and we will put that in the show note or the description below if you are watching us from YouTube. Basically, there is a free 25 questions assessment for your business. It will probably take you 5 minutes, but that 5 minutes might well just be the most important 5 minutes for your business. So it's a free tool. So take the assessment and we see you there. Also, if you enjoy this content, would you please give us a thumb up and comment below, or if you are listening us from iTunes, leave a review to let us know. Because all this little action of kindness, it done a lot for us. Number one, that my team and I would really appreciate that, because that we know we have made a difference in creating all this awesome content. Number two, that you will help more people find this episode and this podcast or this YouTube channel, so more people can benefit from the valuable content. Thank you so much. For all the goodies that we mentioned during the interview will be in kellybutler.com/087. Again, that's kellybutler.com/087. So what do you think? For more helpful videos, just click on the links on the screen, or even better, hit the subscribe button so you will not miss another great video. Thank you for watching.